Pay him. Pay that man his money.
I'm your huckleberry.
Every year I set this league up. Every year, and I never win. This was the year.
It's Everything Fantasy Nation. Your comments, your questions, the voice of the fan. And welcome into Everything Fantasy Nation. And the reason I am wearing this purple shirt backwards, I am not a Minnesota Viking fan. Far from it. Last week I took on Fredo on a one-on-one bet. And if you stuck around to the end of the show, he had to shave half his beard because he's been losing a lot of games. And what was it, 4 in a row, 3 in a row? So I decided it was time to fade Fredo's bet. And it was bad timing. So I put up my beard. Jacksonville did not cover against Kansas City. So at some point here, I'm going to just start shaving it off, and we'll go from there. Who knows? It could be a complete disaster, but whatever.
See, I don't put my beard up for bets. I'll just come in 1 week and it'll be gone. I don't know. I can't.
I'm thinking of like Grid of Death, like Levitard's show to an extent. Crop top for Fred is in play, but that'll be stuff as we go and get down the line and have some more fun with Everything Fantasy Nation. Want to make sure we're getting your comments, your questions. We want to know the stardoms, the sit-ems, your trade proposals. We'll update you on the injury list. We also have a lot going on. We're in week 6. In week 6, Wookie, is... This is where you make hay.
Yep,
this is where you make money.
You're starting to get moving now. You know who is performing for your team, who's not performing. Trades are actually starting to happen, hopefully, in your league. Week 6, you're really starting to get going here.
Okay, so I guess we'll start with the pool question here. Who has been, through week 5, the best fantasy football player?
To me, I think you got to probably be looking at Todd Gurley. Kamara kind of had a down week last week. Gurley, I know in my standard league, he had like 29.5 points. And he's been averaging over 20 a game. So in my opinion, Todd Gurley, but I guess I might be a little biased towards him. But
and I guess, when you're talking about Kamara, now you got Mark Ingram back. We saw that Mark Ingram getting that hammer, getting it down near the end zone. I just think that Kamara is just so dynamic, and they want to get him the ball, and especially if you're in a PPR league. To me, Alvin Kamara is my first half MVP. Shout out to Ryan Fitzmagic.
He was the first 2 games,
5
MVP
games,
or whatever it was.
We called it. It was eventually going to happen.
Yep.
That he was going to come back to earth and be Ryan Fitz tragic.
Yeah, I feel bad for the guy. I saw online a guy that bought a Fitzpatrick jersey, and I was like, man, you jumped the gun on that one a little bit there. There was no point in getting that early.
And we got Fredo's here. Fredo was able to grow his goatee back to a certain extent. I'm not sure if you got your mic popped or not. Say something into it.
Yeah.
You do?
I do.
Yeah.
Hey, hot dog.
Fredo.
Yeah, just a little bit. It doesn't really hit stride until about week 4, so
all right.
It's kind of like a lot of college football teams.
All right, let's get some shout outs going as we already have people checking in. Gary Robinson, loyal fan. He I talked to Gary last week. He says during work he really enjoys our show, and it makes time go by a little bit faster.
Right on.
So,
glad to have you, Gary.
Yeah, absolutely. We love to hear that, and if we can entertain you or give you information in any sort of way, that's the goal for this show. Gary Likens with the wave. Let's go to Andrew, and that's Andrew Stanley. I need my glasses anymore. I'm getting old, man. Andrew Staley. I'm sorry, I put an extra N in there. Andrew wants to know, do I trust Julian Edelman this week? We talked about it last week.
I mean, he came
we
out
said
firing.
Plug and play.
They're playing at home against Kansas City this week. I think you trust Julian Edelman big time this week. Although, you know what? Last week I was like, Big Ben, trust him all the way home. And
right.
That didn't exactly work out. But, yeah, you go with Edelman this week.
Yeah, I think so. I guess also it depends on your options, right?
True.
Yeah, you got to be able to.
You obviously made it 4 weeks without him, so hopefully you have something. But I don't know why you would want to bench him in that matchup. Playing against Kansas City at home on Sunday night, that's prime Brady time right there.
You got that right. Let's see. Mark Cassidy wants to know Gurley or Kamara. We were just having this discussion a second ago.
Both? If you have
can
both,
you
can you play them both?
Right. Let's see who the Rams. The Rams are taking on the Denver Broncos, whose defense really has not been all that.
And they're expecting 2 to 3 inches of snow in that game. So I mean, that's going to be the Todd Gurley show right there, I think.
And you're bringing up a good point right now, because we're at the sort of season where weather is going to start playing a big effect. You look at the Meadowlands coming up here this weekend with the hurricane.
Yeah, that
game
tonight.
I mean, it's gonna play a little bit of havoc on it.
And
so
you got the AFC North every year, which is always Cleveland in the wintertime, Cincinnati, Baltimore, Pittsburgh. You always got to pay attention to that. There's really, outside of Ben, a lot of them can get affected by that weather.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to find New Orleans here.
They're on a bye this week.
Oh, okay. Well, then there you go. Easy answer. You're on the bye. Play early. Andrew wants to know both. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, sorry, Andrew. We weren't more help to you. Gary Robinson wants to know, I have Green, Beckham, and Hill at wide receiver, so I'm loaded. But I desperately need a running back with my only 2 options. Let me see. I got to hit more. I hate Facebook sometimes. Which one of the 3 should I trade to try to fill a running void? I'll take it off the top right now. I think you're going to get the most value right now for Tyreek Hill. He's going to be the highest value. But at the same time, I trust Hill going forward with Pat Mahomes. He's not. I don't feel like he's going to regress too much.
See, I'm going to go another direction there. I think I would be trying to trade Hill, because I think he's kind of peaked on the season already. You saw him blow up the first couple weeks. He's kind of regressed a little bit. AJ Green is automatic. You know what you're going to get out of him. OBJ, after his whole spiel last week, I think he's going to – Eli's going to get him involved again more. And I think, like you said, though, you'll get the most value out of Tyreek Hill, because people – they're really high on him, but I think he's also the one that he'll perform the least the remainder of the season. So if you can get rid of him for a good running back, go for it.
Here's my thought on Odell Beckham. He's definitely one of the, I would guess, perception-wise, 3 to 5 best wide receivers in the game. And perception is reality in my mind,
especially in fantasy. I mean.
And you're playing in a place in the Meadowlands that is notorious for whipping wins. You've got Eli Manning throwing him the ball, who's not exactly the guy that
he's
you
not
want.
a spring chicken anymore.
You got Saquon Barkley, who's going to command a lot of touches. Shepard is starting to command some touches. I think right now you've got Odell Beckham at a spot where he's not going to get a higher ceiling than he is right now.
And it feels like that floor on Odell is kind of starting to drop out from under him too. He used to be a real safe, in a PPR league, 12, 14 points a game. I feel like that's dropping now because, like you said, with Saquon, a lot of Odell's points used to be on those short slants where he would bust it and take it 75 yards for a touchdown, and you haven't seen that happen yet this year. And, I think a lot of that does have to do with Saquon eating into his touches.
All right, thanks for the comment and the question there. Gary, let's go to Matthew Meyer, and let's give this one to a Fredo question. Should we give up on AP? It's AD, but I know who AP is, and that's always interesting to me, who AP versus AD. So go ahead, and is AD done? I thought it was done 2 years ago.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm going to say, yeah, I expected in a couple more weeks, but I feel like anybody who knows fantasy football knew that there was a cliff, just like with Fitzmagic, that AD was going to fall off of at some point this season. When he came out in week 1 and had that great showing, I think people just kind of lost their minds and thought he's back.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
He's not back. He's slow. He can't hit holes. Drop it. I think you drop AD at this point.
I don't know if you drop him, but at the same time, it's also a lot to do with game script too, because they've been falling behind a lot, and that's when you get Chris Thompson involved, and we even saw Capri Bibbs this past week against New Orleans.
Sure.
But he apparently dislocated his shoulder, so take that for what it's worth. But I don't know that you're dropping him yet. I mean, maybe if you have a really short bench, but I mean, I know if he went to waivers in my league, I'd be on him like white on rice. But
and we got a lot more comments coming in here, and we're going to get to all of them here. But right now, I just wanted to mention, please like and share the video. Get it out there for us. We want more people to be able to see the content that we're providing. We also want to shout out EBSN Online. You can go to @EBSN Online to follow us on social media there, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. But most importantly, go to Everything Fantasy Nation and like our Facebook post. It's a big favor to us, and if you like the content, spread the word. Turn on your notifications that way you know when we're going live. We'll be here every Thursday. I wanted to say 2, and Tuesday came out, but yeah, every Thursday 2 to 3, and we'll be going over the latest in, Thursday night football is coming up. Injuries are starting to take shape. The stardom and sit-em and all that sort of stuff. And if you missed the show, it'll live on our Facebook page. And you can also listen to the podcast version on iTunes, Apple iTunes. You can listen to it on Google Play, SoundCloud. There's many, many ways to catch this show in case you didn't catch all of it. Let's hit some more of these comments here because I don't want to get too far behind on everybody. I want to make sure I shout everybody out. Let's see. Ben Sheridan wants to know Ridley versus the weak Tampa Bay secondary or Alshon Jeffrey versus the weak New York Giants secondary. And I'll get it to you real quick, but Alshon Jeffrey is a sit tonight for me because of the weather.
Yep, you just mentioned the Thursday night game. Tonight, I think the only people I would have any confidence in are Zach Ertz, I guess Odell, and Saquon Barkley. If you don't have a better option than Carson Wentz, you could fire him up, but I wouldn't. The weather, Hurricane Michael's rolling through there, and it's going to be a pretty gnarly game tonight. So in that situation there, I think I would go with Calvin Ridley.
And then Marvin's got an interesting one because they're in the same game, Alshon Jeffrey or Odell Beckham, and I think you got to take the guy that
the more explosive
guy, and the guy that's not coming right off an injury too.
Yep, and you've seen. I think Jeffrey's gone back-to-back 100-yard games, if I'm not wrong there. But at the same time, like we said, with the weather, and like I said earlier, Odell can get that short crossing route and just take it to the house. So I think I would go with Odell there.
Fredo, I got a question for you.
Shoot.
Have you gone through it all and looked at who are the favorable matchups for wide receivers, defenses? Let's say Alvin Kamara or Mark Ingram. Who's the worst at run defense? Who's the cornerback that we don't want to see if I've got Antonio Brown on the other side of it? I know it's Jimmy Smith, but
to answer your questions, do I do that? No,
yes.
I don't do that, but
right,
ESPN and Yahoo's services both have a little thing under the player's name where they will tell you, it'll be green if it's a bad pass defense, or yellow if it's middling, or red if it's bad.
There's a couple other good ones out there too.
That's your new job for next week.
Okay.
We're going to go with the don't play these guys because they've got a nightmare matchup.
Gotcha.
All right. And we'll go ahead with that. Let's get back to the comments here. And Alshon Jeffrey, where do you think Le'Veon Bell will be in Week 8? Interesting question. I just saw Bovada put out odds on this.
What do they have it at?
The Eagles are the favorite, a slight favorite.
Over the Steelers?
The Steelers are the second favorite.
I think he's going to stay with the Steelers.
I do too, but that's the Eagles make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
losing Ajayi. And then you also take a look at LaShawn McCoy having a decent week last week. Buffalo's 2-3, and do you move them in that situation? How the hell did Buffalo make the playoffs last year?
Oh man, weren't they 7-9 or something?
Tyrod Taylor geez, oh man, I can't even find an appropriate sound effect for it. The Buffalo Bills are just completely
garbage.
I don't know why.
Soundboard's acting up here.
Come on, soundboard. There it is.
There we go.
That's what we think.
And honestly, look, it's
we
Josh
love Bills
Allen
Nation,
running
though.
the ball.
Love Bills Nation.
Oh, and Bills Mafia and everything.
Bills Mafia.
They are insane.
Yep.
Keep smashing tables.
Yeah, absolutely. Get the thumbtacks out. Okay, so let's go to Christopher. Christopher wants to know, that was Le'Veon Bell Week 8. I think it's going to be Pittsburgh. There is a chance for the Eagles, but I would not count on that being the case. Christopher Flakes wants to know, I'm debating on who should I drop between Marvin Jones, Keelan Cole, or James Crowder. I'll let you handle that because I think there's an obvious one to drop.
You would want to maybe say Crowder, but after seeing Blake Bortles and his Benny Hill-esque game last week where he had to bam, 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 it was ridiculous. The interceptions everywhere. I'd be dropping Keelan Cole. I dropped D.D. Westbrook this week and didn't feel bad about it at all. So I think just get away from that Jags offense because just because we'll have one good week doesn't mean he's going to have a good week the next week, and you really need the consistency in fantasy. So I go Keelan Cole.
And I drive the Blake Bortles bus. So, he put up big numbers. Fantasy-wise, I know he threw 5 picks or 20 picks or whatever it was, but
I know some leagues don't penalize interceptions, so if you're in one of those, man, he's a stud. But in mine, it's -2 points, and minus 10 points on the day from a QB is rough.
And again, I love quarterbacks that can do something with their legs.
Yeah,
that's a big bonus for me. All right, Christopher, thanks for checking in on that. Let's get to. I am gonna have to start wearing glasses. This is crazy.
We got an old man over here.
Honestly. Rodolfo Jose Linas Quadro.
You got it.
I don't know if I got it or if I butchered it, but it's probably funnier if I butchered it. Carlos Hyde or Tariq Cohen? Give it to El Guapo, my man.
Absolutely, Carlos Hyde. You can't trust Tariq Cohen.
No.
He had the one big game before the bye week. I think you go with Guapo.
Yeah, you definitely got to go with El Guapo. And speaking of which, the Cleveland Browns still undefeated against the spread.
Hey, they could very easily be undefeated.
They could very easily be 0-5.
Well, that too.
Yeah, that honestly, that's how close this is right now. And the NFL is such a tough league to read week in and week out. And I always say that it's an overreaction league. So one week someone looks great, Aaron Rodgers looks bad last week, and all of a sudden, what's wrong with Aaron Rodgers? And is he done for and all that sort of stuff? In the words of Aaron Rodgers. RELAX. Relax.
Yep.
It's a long season. Don't give up after just one bad performance in a situation like that. So to me, I just don't know if I would be thinking about dropping. Who were we talking about there?
Hyde.
Carlos Hyde, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Carlos Hyde, and it's a running back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and running backs, you play up to 3 wide receivers at a time. You only play 1 running back, other than a fullback sometimes. So that would be my answer. Carlos Hyde. Hope that helped there. And John wants to know, John Hader, is Chris Thompson going to play Sunday? Is McCoy worth starting against the Texans? And is it worth trading McCoy or keeping him?
I mean, I think if you can get anything for Shady at this point, you get rid of him. I don't think he's worth starting.
Is this a really good buy low spot? Because I really think they're going to move him.
I don't think it's a buy lows. I mean, well, you mean if they move to another
That's what
team?
I'm saying.
Maybe
That's why that would be the angle I would be looking at, is that, okay, you can get LaShawn McCoy for dirt right now. And if he does end up having to get traded to a playoff contender that needs a running back, that needs a horse, I think he's got still enough skill based on what happened last year, as long as he can stay healthy.
Man, I don't know. In my opinion, you just stay away from Shady. If you have him, I honestly think he's close to being droppable. But I guess coming from that angle, if you're looking to maybe wait and see if he gets traded, maybe. But I'd be staying away from Shady personally.
Yeah, I don't know any. Do you really want to put your fantasy football life on a guy whose nickname is Shady?
I mean, in years past you did, but yeah,
Shady.
Yeah.
But we brought up that odds on Shady as far as where he could end up a little bit earlier, and Las Vegas doesn't take these prop bets. They don't do the who's going to be the first coach fired, but there is a place you can go and do that. And it's betdsi.com. Betdsi.com is one of the best books that you can get your action into. Over 20 years in business, top rated, it's safe, and we're going to match up to $500. So if you deposit $500, they're going to match that $500, and they're going to give you $1,000. So all you got to do is,
well, it'll give you a total of 1,000.
They'll give you a total of it. Yeah, right.
So you put in 500, they're giving you 500, and that's, I mean, who doesn't want 500 free dollars to play with?
Free money.
If you know what you're doing, take it, run with it. Put a few small bets down, and there you go. You're turning some.
Well, I think the free money you got to leave in there for a while, but eventually you'll get it.
That's what I mean.
But you bring that up. The best part about BetDSI is it's so easy to get your money out. And that's the biggest concern when you're talking about sending money through a credit card to an offshore. How am I going to get my money back? It's super simple. They take care of you. Use the promo code EBSN to get your bonus. And that's betdsi.com. Go there now. Start winning. Live betting, baseball, just about any sport you want to get into.
It's not just football, hockey, basketball, golf. Get in there. Whatever you're into, you can bet NASCAR. I'm sure you can even bet on.
That's right. If you're a Columbus Blue Jackets fan and they happen to have played at 7:00, you can throw $10 on the San Jose Sharks at 10:00, and now you're a San Jose Shark fan for about
the night. Yeah,
and when they lose, then you can throw your hat against the wall like you would for any other team. So it's an investment, and it brings you closer to sport, I think, at times too.
Yeah, whenever there's money on the line, you're more invested in it than just sitting there eating your pizza pockets and stuff and not having.
Absolutely. Holy cow, we got to get to some of these comments here because I'm losing track of where we are on them. Chicago defense, Eric wants to know. Chicago defense, Philip Lindsay, Edelman for Mark Ingram. Oh, trade alert. Oh, we've got a trade. This is my favorite part of these comments. Trade stopping. All right. Here it is. Chicago defense, Philip Lindsay, Julian Edelman for Mark Ingram, the Jacksonville defense. Keep this in mind. He already has Alvin Kamara, McCoy, and Mike Davis.
I don't know if you do that trade. The Chicago defense is straight
Is
up.
it Fugazi?
It's going to perform.
Is it a
straight,
Fugazi?
I mean, yeah, I think it's going to be a straight up RB2 type points every week for you, guaranteed. And you don't know that you're going to get that out of the Jacksonville defense. So on that alone, I would keep my Edelman, keep my Bears defense. If you already have Kamara, there you go. Yeah, I don't think I would do that trade.
Eric, what I would try to do is I would counter and do your best to try to get Mark Ingram. That's the key piece for you, I think, on your team. If you've got Alvin Kamara already, one of them goes down, you've got the workhorse. I also like a move to try to get Julian Edelman. If you can maybe work out a package where it's not such a big trade. Big trades are so hard to pull off. Yeah. If you can get it down to Edelman and Ingram and give them a nice piece back, that might be something.
Well, he was giving Edelman, right? It was him giving Chicago Edelman and Lindsey and getting Ingram, Jacksonville, and
You're right.
Something else.
So what do you think about Engelman for Ingram?
I mean, if you could do
that's an interesting one for me. If you could do it straight up
Edelman for Ingram, yeah. I mean, if he'll take it, I would do that.
And he's going to get the carries in the end zone.
Yeah,
they're going to score a ton.
What do you think, Fredo?
Fredo's got a comment on that for you.
I'm going to go the opposite direction because Edelman is Brady's safety blanket. We know he's going to get 7, 8 to maybe 12 catches a game, and
if it's a PPR league, that's
yeah. And Ingram is so touchdown dependent that
he's not going to perform the way he did this past week, where they were just feeding.
You're not going to get 70 yards and 2 touchdowns out of him every week. I stick with Edelman.
All right, there you go. Hope that helped a little bit there. Let's see, where are we? Facebook posts do not have some sort of order. They move all the time on you. It's crazy. Just traded Devontae Freeman for Tariq Cohen. You like it? Andrew Staley wanted to know.
I mean, Cohen's healthy. You don't really know when Freeman's going to even get back out there and stay out there. So at this point, yeah, I think I like that trade.
I do too, because when Freeman is healthy, he's going to be the workhorse, and Tariq Cohen's getting about 45% of the touches in Chicago. And Chicago's still going to show me, I think, a little bit before that happens. Okay, do you have your comments over here, Mike? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand you my phone now that we're at the bottom of the hour. We are right in here.
All right.
And you read off the comments. I'm going to start getting busy here. And sorry, producer G, I got to move this mic to get to what I got to do, and start just continue the show as is, and I'll jump in when I can.
All right, Fredo, I got one here.
I do need to get my hand mirror, so I will. You're on your own here for a minute.
Gotcha. So Corey wants to know: you start Deshaun Watson or Jameis Winston this week?
Deshaun Watson.
Against
and it's
Buffalo?
not even, and for me, it's not even close.
I don't know. You got Winston coming off the bye playing Atlanta. I think they're both going to have a pretty good week. I was going to say Jameis.
I think I trust Watson more at this point. And yes, Buffalo has had a couple of upsets and they've played some tight games and they've shut other teams down. But it looks like Houston's going to have all of their weapons. They're going to have Fuller. They're going to have Hopkins. They're going to have
Miller will be back.
Miller's going to be back. And even if Miller doesn't come back, they've got Alfred Blue.
Yeah. Now, see, let me add one thing in here, though. We talked about it earlier about matchups for defensive backs and wide receivers and that kind of stuff. I do know Buffalo has Tre'Davious White, who is one of the top 5 cover corners in the league, and he'll be on Nuke. So you'll have him on DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know. That's, in my opinion, I'd go with Jameis there, just because he's coming back, first game starting against that terrible Atlanta defense. But I said the same thing last week about Ben. So,
gee, I'm going to play a little traveling music if you want to just play real low. I don't want that one. There it is.
All right, so then next one I got one from Ben here. He wants to know Keelan Cole, Amari Cooper, or Alfred Morris. So I'd say that's at a flex. Keelan Cole, Amari Cooper, Alfred Morris.
I'm going to say Alfred Morris since it looks like Matt Breida is going to be out this week.
I'm going to go with you there.
The other two I just don't trust.
Don't trust at all. Amari Cooper can go 15 yards or Amari Cooper can blow up on you. I think you're getting a safe floor from Alfred Morris there. And then we're just trying try and keep going here with him shaving his beard over here. Let's see what we got. I saw someone saying, do you trust Kiki Cutie against the Buffalo defense? That the guy who blew up, that Cutie, however you say his name.
I think it's Cutie.
Cutie. I think it is Cutie. I think it's
I
Kiki
heard
Cutie.
3 different pronunciations on Sunday Night Football, so who knows? It's hard telling because that's the first time I heard of the guy.
Yeah, I'd never heard of him before,
So-
which that's weird for me. You know, normally you hear about these guys.
Yeah,
and it wasn't.
it's one of those. Usually, it's one of those things. You know they're on the roster. You know they exist, but you don't know about them, and it's. and I think that.
By the way, this is like a 5-month beard growth, so this is significant.
That's
Yes.
big time right there.
I don't know if I trust him, but I guess after Sunday you could say that maybe Deshaun Watson does.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's that means as much as anything.
But if you're having Will Fuller back, I think you're going to see a lot of that's going to eat into his touches too there. So we have another one here from Danny. He wants to know James White or David Johnson. So you got James White at home against the Chiefs, and then you got the Cards going up against who the Cardinals have this week. I know it's the Vikings, right? I believe it's the Vikings.
Yes,
so yeah,
it is the Vikings.
Jake says James White. I think you do.
Yeah,
As hard as it is to say you're going to bench David Johnson, I think James White's shown.
James White's.
Hot hand at this point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We got Dante Foreman. Is he a sleeper pickup? He's the RB3 down in Houston right now. He was coming off that Achilles injury, I believe it was. Look, I've had Lamar Miller for like 4 years, and he kills me every year. And I think when Foreman comes back, he's going to work his way in. So I think if you have room on your bench, I would definitely try to stash him. And that was coming from Rob McCoy. So, Rob, yeah, if you can stash him, stash him. Here's one for you. I know you got something to say on this, Fredo. We got Brait or Kittle and Landry or Cohen in the flex. So Cameron Brait or Kittle. I know you like Kittle.
Yeah, Kittle and I think what was the other one?
Landry or Cohen. So I think you're
Landry.
going Landry there. So
Yeah.
I agree with you there. I think Kittle and Landry.
Unless his leg is off.
Right.
Yeah.
Bless him.
Just
bless
yeah,
him.
bless him.
I got a question actually. What do you do with James Conner right now?
Oh, you keep starting him.
But what I'm saying is it's coming to an end. Like how do you deal with James Conner
You
at this
don't.
point?
To me, you don't know for sure that it's coming to an end yet. They said when Le'Veon's back, they want to keep getting him involved. I mean, for whatever that's worth. And like we said earlier, they could trade Le'Veon. Le'Veon might not come back in Week 8. So, I mean, right now, I think you're holding tight on him. He had a good game again last week, and you just keep riding it.
Yeah, you can't give up on him yet. And the thing is what are you going to get for him?
That hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, what are you going to get for him
Yeah,
even if you do
'cause
try and trade him?
people know the same thing. They're looking at it like, well, how long is he going to ride for? We got another one here from Alfredo. He wants to know Wentz or Goff.
Man.
You can't
The-
go away from.
Yeah, I
the
think
weather,
you have to
weather
just
and Goff has just got too many weapons.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not like we're talking about either of those guys having noodle arms.
Yeah.
They can both chuck it. So I would say Goff.
I think you go Goff. I don't think a little bit of snow negates him as
No.
much as the wind and rain tonight will negate Wentz.
Yeah, and not only that, but it looks like both Cooper Kupp and Brandon Cooks are going to be able to play this weekend. At least that's the vibe I'm getting from reading the injury reports.
And one other thing, too, is I don't like starting my quarterback on a Thursday if you don't have to. Like that's one thing. If you can avoid it, you don't start your quarterback on a Thursday.
I don't know, though. You get big performances out of guys.
From the home team quarterback,
and
usually.
I mean, and we saw Goff put up one of those just a couple weeks ago against Minnesota.
Yeah, and Brady last week. So I guess my yearly thing is not right anymore.
We all have those things we get set in our head.
Yep. Let's see here. We have Ranger wants to know Wendell Smallwood or Devontae Freeman. I mean, I think just off of the injury report possibility, you got to start Smallwood because you got a little bit on the bottom underneath. Yep. You'll get to it.
It's a process.
Trust the process. Yeah, I would have to go with Smallwood right now, unless something comes out from Atlanta's practice in the next couple of hours, because Freeman's got higher potential, but we know Smallwood's healthy.
Let me jump in here real quick.
Yep.
If you guys are watching on Facebook Live on EBSN Online and you're wondering why we're not reading your comments, you're going to need to jump over to the Everything Fantasy Nation Facebook page and leave your comments there, because that's where we're watching. We appreciate all of you who are tuned in right now as you're watching Sofranko pay off his bet and shave his beard.
That's grody.
We appreciate the half beard looks kind of cool. Not really.
I think. At least give it the
Yeah, so if you guys could give this video a like and a share, we'd appreciate it. We're here live every Thursday night talking fantasy, so make sure you turn on your notifications so that you can be tuned in with us and get your fantasy lineup ready. Let me give a few shout-outs to names in case we don't get your comments. Zach Farrell, Benjamin Human, Paulie Stein, Craig Lunyon, Tyke Caligori, if I'm saying that right, Chad Warren, CJ, David Riley, Edward Vang, and Zachary Roy. We appreciate your comments. We're coming along trying to get as much of them as we can as we go. So thanks for tuning in.
I think my left hand is autistic.
I was going to ask Jake, have you considered going with the Abraham from The Walking Dead?
So we got another one here from Kung. He traded Kamara straight up for Christian McCaffrey. Good or bad?
And by the way, where's Jesus? We haven't heard from Jesus in 2 weeks now. Hey, Jesus, get on here.
Man.
Kamara straight up for McCaffrey.
There's a lot of people who like McCaffrey, and I'm just not one of them.
I mean, if you're in a PPR league, he's a monster.
Yeah,
Absolute monster.
If it's a PPR league, I guess that's kind of a wash, though, with Kamara.
Yeah, I think it is, too. I think you broke even on that trade.
It's sort of a break even unless he was just concerned about Kamara's touches from Ingram coming back.
Yep, I don't know. I mean, I like the trade. I don't know that you came out on top, but I don't think you lost in it either. I think that was a pretty even trade right there. So
is Funches the clear number one target in Carolina at this point?
With Olsen out, he is, but Olsen's supposed to be coming back this week, Yeah, I think so, but I've never been real big on Funchess, but he produces. So I mean,
and it looks like Olsen is going to be back. Watch for full practices today and tomorrow, but it looks like he will probably be back this week.
Hey, he can be injured again in 3 weeks.
That is his MO.
And then we got Zach Farrell here. Sorry, we're getting to you, Zach. Would you start Jeffrey or Lockett, Olsen or Rudolph? So I think I would go with Tyler Lockett over Jeffrey. We already talked about that. And then I think if Olsen's healthy, I think you go with Greg Olsen, because I know Ron Rivera said if he's healthy, he's going full speed. He's not going to be on a snap count. He's going to be out there playing. So if he gets the go ahead, I think you go with Greg Olsen there.
I agree with Lockett. I think I would go with Kyle Rudolph, I'm guessing is who he's talking about.
Yeah.
I just because Arizona seems like they're a mess this year.
That's true.
So, yeah.
All right, let's see what we got here. Paulie wants to know Kirk Cousins or Big Ben.
Who's Kirk Cousin? Who's Kirk Cousin has this week?
Kirk Cousin has
Washington has Carolina.
Yeah.
So I think you go with Kirk Cousins in that game.
Was Kirk Cousins or
Big Ben?
Ben's got Cincinnati.
Ben's got Cincinnati, and that Cincinnati defense has been playing pretty well the last couple of weeks.
Go with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I would go with Kirk
Although,
Cousins. Neither one's an easy matchup.
You know how those Pittsburgh-Cincinnati games have been the last couple of years.
Yeah,
they are just slobber knockers. Like, that'll be a good game.
I don't like Ben. I don't like Ben on the road.
All right.
Yeah, that's my tiebreaker.
Let's see what we got here. We got Chad wants to know, Crowell, do you keep playing him as a weekly starter, or do you try to trade him? He's coming off that 200-yard game. He's been on fire lately.
I think you get what you can for him.
He is.
Right. Well, we're Browns fans, so yeah.
I think you get what you can for him because it's easy to say, well, see, he got away from Cleveland. Look what he's doing. I don't think it's just that simple.
I agree with
Crowell's
you.
a trade for me.
I think if you can get something for him, go for it.
There's somebody in every league that will trade something valuable for Isaiah Crowell, thinking they're going to get at least 2 more performances like that out of him the rest of the season.
Here we go. I like this one from David Riley. Rivers versus the Browns or Winston versus Atlanta. All touchdowns count as 6. I think you're going with Jameis there. And I love Phillip Rivers, his favorite player in the league, but that Browns pass defense right now is pretty good.
Yeah.
And you got Myles Garrett is going to be chasing Phil down all day. So I think you're going Jameis versus that real bad Atlanta defense.
Yeah, and has Atlanta given up less than 30 points this year?
I believe they've given up 40-plus the last, 3 weeks.
No, I'm sorry. I think I worded that badly. Has anybody scored less than 30 points?
I don't think
them?
so. Because I know they've given up 40 the last 3 weeks, I believe. So.
Whoever's playing in Atlanta.
Here you go from Zach. We got Kenyon Drake, who we love here, or Bilal Powell.
Almost there, guys.
Drake's playing Chicago this week, and they're only giving up 64 yards on the ground.
Yep.
I realize he can catch the ball, but Powell's doing a really solid job as I guess you'd say 1B running back for the Jets.
Oh, yeah, he's really not even. Yeah, I would go with Powell too. He's really not even the backup, like you said. He's the 1B. They just spell him in and out. Yep. Trying to get to all you guys here. Sorry. Joseph said, this dude really buzzing his face. So, yes, Joseph, he is really buzzing his
Paying
face.
off a bet, Joseph. I don't want to be paying off a bet shaving my face on air.
Right now, he's at the point where it looks like we should probably have a cardboard sign and put him out on the side of the road. He's cleaning it up, though, so.
I don't know. We need to give him a set of crutches.
Get back my cardboard sign, take a shower, get a haircut, and get a job at McDonald's.
There it is, yeah. I'll bring you some McDonald's food, and then you'll get mad at me and tell me you just wanted the money.
Don't you know that stuff's bad for you, man? You know what else is bad for you? Starving.
But you know what? That pint of vodka would have been a lot better. So that's why they didn't want the McDonald's. All right, let's see what we got here. We had Justin here chimed in on that Christian McCaffrey and Kamara. He said he'll take McCaffrey over Kamara, PPR, rest of schedule all day. Which, like I said, in a PPR, McCaffrey's the only one getting those touches. So, yeah, you're right there. But let's see. PPR league, Ingram for Cousins. I would be getting Ingram. I have Mahomes already. Oh, yeah. If you have Pat Mahomes already, give up your Cousins and get an Ingram back.
Yeah, because you can pick up somebody that's going to be almost as good as
you only need one week.
Always trade quarterbacks for position players.
Yep. Always. I'm just loving this over here.
Some sucker will give you a quarterback like Ben Roethlisberger for Alvin Kamara. He's a sucker.
Let's see. Jordan here, he says, is Winston a good start for the rest of the season? I personally, Fredo's making faces at me, but I think he is. In the preseason, he was the number 1 graded quarterback in the league from Pro Football Focus. And I know it's been up and down with Jameis over the years, but that cast he has around him, if they can get Ronald Jones going, I think Jameis Winston's a good start the rest of the season. And he has a really favorable schedule. If you go look at his playoff schedule for fantasy playoffs, Jameis has a hell of a schedule coming up for him.
Talk about that for a second, Mike, the playoff schedule and how to go about looking for that.
Okay, so in most leagues, it's going to be...
Especially with trades.
Yeah, it's going to be week 14 is typically your first playoff game. Championships usually week 16. So, you want to look... A lot of times you want to look at a quarterback and see who they play in week 15, 16. Like right now, I know Tom Brady's playing Buffalo week 16, which if I can make it, then, there we go. Another one is crap. Go ahead, Fredo, because I'm trying to remember who I was thinking of.
Well, Winston's playoff schedule, week 14, New Orleans, so shootout, presumed shootout anyway. Week 15 against Baltimore, and they've been better than solid. But week 16 against a Dallas team that
they've been
and that's at Dallas, by the way. That's at Baltimore, which could be a weather game, and at Dallas, which indoors. So, yeah, with Dallas though, that's a team that might be giving up on the season at that point.
By that point,
so,
I mean,
if you've
Garrett
got the
might lose the
defense
team by
mailing it
then.
in,
Yeah.
and you know Sean Lee will be hurt, so
Does any coach get fired in season?
Right now, I don't think so at this point, but man.
Garrett would be the one.
Well, he got that vote of confidence the other day, didn't he?
that's the kiss of death.
Didn't Stephen Jones come out? Wasn't it Stephen that came out and said something about it? Gary's not in here; he'd be able to tell us. But
Man, it's not really the kiss of death until Jerry says it, though, is it?
So we got another trade here from Patrick. He says 10-team PPR Dynasty League. He'd be getting Christian McCaffrey, A. Miller, first, fourth. Well, geez, hold on. This is a in-depth one here. All right, Christian McCaffrey. Who's A. Miller? Who am I?
All that's popping into my head is Andre Miller, and I don't.
Tight end for Chicago.
First, fourth, fifth, seventh rookie picks for Fournette, Freeman, Hayden Hurst, and Christian Kirk. It's a 50-man roster with a lot of IDPs.
He didn't mean Lamar Miller, did he?
Man, you know what? I'm not even going to pretend that I can give any
Yeah,
advice
that's a lot of moving parts
on a 50-man dynasty roster. That's crazy to me.
I know people that
Props
have problems.
to you that do that.
Yeah, I know people that have problems working with a 16-man roster, and
Man, I'm impressed more. I mean, I'm sorry I don't have anything for you on that, but that's impressive.
it sounds like he's getting a lot of picks.
And if it's a dynasty league, Hayden Hurst is going to be good in the next couple years. You're going to have Christian Kirk. So, I mean, you know what? Maybe.
All right,
It's a resounding maybe.
All right, Fredo, did I satisfy the bet?
You have satisfied the bet, Jake.
Now I've got
I'm sure the hair is
hair
flying
everywhere. Excuse me for a
All
moment.
right, we got one more here. We got
I'm saving this. The next bet is Fredo has to eat my beard here.
it's going in the chili.
Got Tannenbaum.
Yeah, we got DJ Phelps wants to know Mike Davis or Austin Eckler PPR. I can tell you I've been starting Austin Eckler in a standard league for the last 4 weeks. So I would go with Eckler there against Cleveland.
Eckler's getting enough touches. I would say Eckler.
And you can never trust that Seattle backfield. You never know what Carroll's going to do.
Seattle is what New England was up until, I guess,
Jonas Gray with the 4 touchdowns on 5 carries, and
or like Carolina was when they had Deshaun Foster and who's the other guy? Deshaun Foster, and he's with Pittsburgh now.
D'Angelo Williams.
That's it.
Yeah, he's retired now. Finally.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, they have
where you're just looking at it every week and you're like, I don't know. I guess I have to start both of them.
Yep. Let's see. Do I start Aaron Rodgers or Matt Ryan?
I start Ryan just because if Rodgers gets, they take him out of the game on Monday, you've got nothing unless you can pick up Beathard. And I guarantee you that if your opponent has any brains, they've already picked up Beathard to force you into a decision.
And that would actually, I think you're right there. You go Matt Ryan. And Tampa Bay's defense is terrible too. So, I mean, I'd go Matt Ryan.
The whole, can we just say the AFC South, the NFC South's defense is just as a whole not good.
Pretty much. But it's always been that way. Carolina had
is
one.
Good, but.
And then Patrick chimed back in. He said it was Anthony Miller, and it's the big man's league. Lol. Man, that is a league. I don't
send us an invite next year.
What's the buy-in on that league, Patrick? If you don't mind, I want to know what the buy-in is.
Man.
Oh, let's see here. We got Lucas wants to know Aaron Jones, Naheem Hines, or Tariq Cohen in standard. I'll tell you, I have all 3 of those on my team, and I'm going with Naheem Hines out of them. So. But I feel like it's kind of a toss-up.
It is, and I'm gonna just because I can. I'm gonna go with Cohen because Miami's already had a couple of games this year against the Jets and against New England, where similar running backs, White and Powell, have given them fits.
Okay,
so. Yeah, I say Cohen.
Well, and also, if Aaron Jones, if you knew he was going to get the volume, but it doesn't seem like McCarthy wants to commit to him yet. He's still going Jamal Williams, and Fredo says Cohen. I'm going with Naheem Hines on my team personally, so take that what you will there. But
I hope we didn't confuse the issue more.
Will wants to know, who do I start at RB2? Chris Carson, Mike Davis, Chris Thompson, Aaron Jones, or Tariq Cohen? Well, with another Aaron Jones and Tariq Cohen there, I think you go with Chris Thompson, though. I mean, you saw he got a lot of the work on, Monday night.
It's one of the Chris's, either either Thompson or Carson.
Yeah, but and like we just said, though, about Seattle,
yeah.
you don't know what you're going to get.
I mean, I feel kind of okay with Carson as the number one guy, but
he had 32 carries a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know, like when they decide to, there you
go.
Yeah,
they can run the ball, and I'll just say Thompson just for consensus sake.
We got David wanted to know, pick 2 PPR, Lewis, Lindsey, or Jones. So I'm guessing that is Aaron Jones, Phillip Lindsey, and Lewis. Why am I brain farting here? Lindsey, it's going to be snowing. PPR, Keenum might be dumping down quite a bit. And then, like we just said with Aaron Jones, you're not sure what you're going to get from him. Lewis, man, why am I?
Yeah.
I don't like reading the comments. I don't like knowing. I get to look at my stuff when Jake's reading the comments.
Yeah, that's the problem. That Lewis isn't exactly an uncommon name.
Yeah. I would go with Lindsey as one of them for sure.
Yeah,
I think
Lindsey's going to be a part of the offense, and he may. If last week is any indication, he might be taking overtaking Freeman.
Yep. And then we have another one here from Corey. He wants to know which Eagles running back tonight for daily fantasy. I would go with, in daily, you're getting PPR. I think you go with Smallwood tonight. And he's probably a little bit cheaper. I'd have to look at it, but
I think Clement would probably be cheaper. But Smallwood's going to
Philly? Is that who?
Yeah, just Philly.
Philly running backs tonight in daily.
Yeah, I'd go Smallwood in my mind if it's PPR for sure.
Yeah. You kind of look like when a dog gets when the dog comes back from the groomer, just like it went from all poofy to now there's nothing there.
Not too bad.
No, it doesn't look bad at all. It's just a shock,
Yeah, what can you do?
Yep.
All right,
here, take this over. I'm having a little trouble with it.
It's dead. That's
why.
Your phone just died.
That's your phone.
Yeah. Anyway,
Fredo, I need comments.
All right, Fredo. No, actually, yeah, we got 5 minutes left. Let's switch it out. Fredo gets one more pick. There will be no repercussion this week. If he loses, there will be one the following week.
All right, here we go. Magic of video.
Yeah, just walk in and out. Here we go. NFL game this week. NFL game. You were hot last week.
NFL game. Well, I don't know if hot because we just sort of on the fly decided that game. So, but this week, everything in college felt like a trap game. I was telling Mike that before the show. But pick of the week: Chicago -3.5 at Miami.
Here's my problem.
Okay.
Should the Chicago Bears at this point be laying points on the road? That's my hang up with that.
I'm going to say this. After watching Tannehill last week and the meltdown, the absolute meltdown that he had in the second half, and those 2 terrible picks, this is especially the one where he, in the press conference after the game, he said, "Oh, there was the rush, and I was just trying to dump it down low," and it was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life.
Did you have a dance for that, Fredo?
Tannehill. What?
Didn't you have a dance for that? Dump it down low.
Yeah,
we were working on it.
I sort of previewed it there. Yeah, you dump it down low and
you drop it down low right there. Yep.
Can we make sure we isolate that?
Yeah. I want
dance?
I want that clip,
get that
and
clip?
I also need the clip of me shaving my beard last week because some people didn't get to see it and they don't want
get to see it at all.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So Plus, Chicago's defense has just been so good this year.
No.
So they might well shut them out at home.
Well, we will see for sure. You've got nothing on the line right now.
Nothing on the line right now.
But if you lose, you will have the next pick
week.
will be a bet pick.
You've already put something forth as a loss punishment that I can't say that as a big dude I'm all that thrilled about.
Well, and you can go ahead and get on the Chicago Bears this weekend.
I will be watching that game
on BetDSI, betdsi.com. Over 20 years in the business, top rated, and it's safe. BetDSI offering up to $500 free on your first deposit. So if deposit $500, they're going to match it. So now you get to play with $1,000. Not a bad deal.
No, not a bad deal at all.
Use your promo code EBSN, and that'll get you to claim the one-time offer that we're having through our promo code, which will be great. BetDSI, great customer service, fast, easy payments. They have in-game betting. It's more than the NFL. It's it's your one-stop shop for gambling. So go to betdsi.com, get an account, put some money in it, and get started today, and find some teams that you have some rooting interest in.
Or you could just do what some people have said. You bet against your team, and then you're a winner either way.
There's some truth to that. Any final thoughts over there, Wook?
I'm just glad I haven't had to put my beard on the line yet for anything.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not a big gambler as much, so we'll find something, I guess. But in the meantime, I get to keep it.
All right. Producer G, anything from you on the way out? No, just shaking your head no. All right. I guess so. All right. Say goodnight, Fredo. We'll be back next Thursday at Everything Fantasy Nation.
Good night, Fredo.